Hey guys, so here we're going to go through another way for you to take a look at your hip mobility, and in checking out what you've got available, you can use the same activity to start working on it to maybe improve your situation. So the last video that I shared looked at whether or not you were able to shift into your socket on one side, get your body over that leg to allow the other side to open up. What we're going to look at now is to see, well, can you control that external rotation, that opening up of that hip, by putting weight on it and seeing, can you actively do that movement? And there's a lot of different ways to do this, but we're going to get you weight bearing. We're going to put you in a position where your hips tend to have a lot more freedom. When we're upright, that's where a lot of stuff happens, but the structure of your hips, they're not as mobile as they are when they're bent to about 90 degrees. So what I'm going to have you do is find a bench or a chair or an ottoman and bear some weight on it with your arms and get yourself into a position where your hips are about at 90 degrees. And then from there, what you're going to check is, can you draw one leg up without it flying out to the side? Draw it up like a piston, and then compare it to the other side. Can you draw it all the way up? What we want is to have some freedom. Everybody's going to have a little bit different, but you should be able to make it a couple of inches up on each side. And when you draw it all the way up, what you should feel is a inner thigh muscle way up on the groin of the leg that you're drawing up really kicking in. So here I'm drawing up my right leg. You should feel your right inner thigh. Here I'm drawing up my left leg, and you should feel your left inner thigh. For some people, that's going to be really hard to do. And so what you can try in that situation is, well, if you got something to stand on, it's like an inch or two, that's great. Otherwise, you can take off one shoe to the same effect. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put myself into a little bit of a hole, and I gave myself a longer left leg, and now I got a bigger range to try to lift it up from. For some folks, this allows them to sort of open their left side by making the left leg longer, and then check out drawing it up. And then you compare it to the other side. How's it look? Can you, by making your right leg longer, does it feel the same to draw that side up and then down? So what you want is a fair amount of freedom. You should be able to have, with your feet flat, lift up an inch or two on one side. It should be pretty even. But in plenty of folks, especially those that have stiff hips, and this may be you, you're not able to draw up either side, or one side may be much tighter than other. It's really common to have a harder time drawing your left leg up as you're standing on your right. And it's not as common to have a challenge on the other side, although injuries and sort of history that you may have, that can make all sorts of differences. So try that on out, see how it feels, see how the range is. If you notice a difference, then you can rep it on out and try to see if it improves. None of this should be painful, so you shouldn't experience a jam in your hips, but what you're looking for is when you draw that leg up, you create a crease on that leg that's sliding up, you should feel the inner thigh on that side kicking in, and it should be fairly even on one side versus the other if you're going to expect yourself to be able to walk around, shift around, run and jump, and just be active and mobile without any issues. So try that on now. Ask any questions if you got them. Regardless, I hope that's helpful, and I hope you're doing well.